What is going on, everybody? Live stream number 3. Get everything set up. Give it a couple minutes before people hop on. As you can tell, we just redid our windows, so that's why it's a little bit of mess over there, but we are cleaning that up. And I spent a little bit of time today helping out, patching up the windows, just a small little holes, but I'm learning a lot. And hopefully, actually, I'm not sure. The lighting is off on this thing. Oh, now it's a little too bright. Francis, how's it going? Glad you can make it. It is hot. I just got done helping out putting up some of our windows. Or they put up the windows, and then my girlfriend's dad is putting trim around them, and then I'm helping out with that, patching up some of the holes. So what's up, Ryan? How's it going? Are you excited for your live stream? It's live stream. Ryan has a live stream tomorrow. Remind me, Ryan, to remind everyone that you have a live stream tomorrow in the middle of my live stream, because right now we just started. So nervous? Yeah, it's a little nerve-wracking at first, but you get used to it. I mean, this is my third one, and I am still a little bit nervous, to be honest with you. But you just got to slow it down and remember that the people who are attending the live stream are like the bigger supporters of sorts. So, you know, everyone's here to support you and want you to win. So, yeah, my third live stream ever. Hopefully these get a little bit easier. I actually want to get a webcam because the webcam I'm using right now is off of my MacBook Air, but it's not that good of a quality. So hopefully I'll be upgrading my webcam soon. I was looking on Amazon and it's around $100 or so. So I am excited. So cool. People are starting to roll in. So with my live streams, I usually, well, this is my third one ever, but the plan is I bring a topic and then topic or topics. I'll answer questions from you all, interact with you all. And then I also have some reserved questions just in case there is a little bit of dead time. I'll answer those questions as well. Jashim, what's going on, my friend? How's it going? 7 people so far. Cool. I'm going to get some water. Ever think of Patreon to pay for your gear? I think Patreon. I don't know. For me, I want to really master YouTube first. I mean, at least get it going with 10,000 subscribers, or work up my way up to 10,000 before I even sign up for Patreon. Just because Patreon is a subscription based, and I feel like for me, I just want to give out free content pretty much for forever. I won't stop doing that, but I also feel kind of bad if people subscribe to me. Like if I had a Patreon, I'd be doing the same kind of things or talking about the same things that I would be talking about on YouTube. So I really don't feel the need to sign up for Patreon, at least for the time being. What's up? What's going on, everyone? Coach Kev, Zach from Achilles Financial. Glad to have you all. And today's topic, I actually have 2 topics that I wanted to talk about. The first one was my 100 miler, and then my second one was my no alcohol streak. And I'll talk about my 100 miler first. So for my 100 miler that I ran, I decided to run it, and I ran it on December of last year. And then I ran my 50 miler a couple months before that, September of last year. And then my first marathon was July of last year. And when I ran my marathon, I was like, I really want it to suck because, with a marathon going into it, you think that's the epitome of running. If you can run a marathon, then you've pretty much conquered the running world of sorts. That's what I was thinking. But when I ran that marathon, I was like, it hurt, but it really didn't hurt that bad. And that's why after I ran my marathon, I was like, okay, what's out there? And obviously run further than a marathon. So that's when I got into ultra marathons. That was around the same time that I read or listened to David Goggins' Can't Hurt Me. And that book really inspired me, just the pain that he was going through. There's just one scene in the book when he got done running his 100 miler. I think it was his first ever 100 miler ever, the San Diego 100. And he was peeing blood, and his wife had to drag him up the stairs into their apartment. And his wife was a nurse as well. And then his wife called like a doctor friend. And then I guess he was having kidney failure and he was peeing blood. And then his wife was like, okay, let's take you to the hospital. Obviously, you got to go to the hospital. But David was like, no, I don't want to go to the hospital. I want to feel this pain. I earned this pain. And after I read that story, I was like, okay, if he can do that, then I can, I want to feel what he's feeling. And for me, that's the biggest reason why, is because I want to push my mental limits and just expand my mental capacity. And that book really, really did change my life. I mean, I'm a huge David Goggins fan. I was before that, but that book really did change my life. And it just puts into perspective of, things suck. And there was the feeling of completing a 100-mile run. There are very few things in the world that is better than that feeling. Like, I haven't had kids and I haven't gotten married yet, so I don't know those feelings, but completing a 100-mile race, I gotta think it's up there. Because for me, it took me around 30 hours, and it was just the most agonizing and painful thing that I've ever done in my life, physically. And we'll start from the very beginning, I guess. So, because I ran a marathon, and then I thought, okay, I want to run a 100-miler, and I think I'll run a 50-miler first. So when I ran my 50-miler, I did it in September. And when I ran it in September, because obviously before I do 100, I want to do a 50 first to gauge it. And when I ran that 50, I actually ran it in a little less than 11 hours. So it was 10 hours and 52 minutes, I believe, for a 50-miler. And basically the 50-miler, I ran it self-supported at the lake/park by my house. I parked my car there, and then I would just go back and forth to it was a loop. It was a 1.4 mile loop. So I would run the loop, come back to the car whenever I needed to replenish, to refill up. And then my house is also right there too. It's literally less than a 5-minute jog, and I'm back to my house. So whenever I need to use a restroom, but there are also restrooms out in the lake/park. And when I completed that 50-miler, I completed, 10:52. And I was like, okay, all right, if I can complete this in a 10:52, then a 100-miler, double that, let me double the time, and let me add a few hours. So I was thinking, okay, 11 hours, okay, 22, I could probably complete it in 26. Okay, I'm at 26, 24 would be nice. And up to that point, when I trained for my 50-miler, I was only really running 40 to 50 miles per week. And I continued that all the way up to the 100-miler. And I ran the 100-miler in December. And my training up to that, as I said, it was at most 50 miles a week. I would never do back-to-back runs, which was a mistake. The longest runs that I had up to that point, my long runs were only about 20 miles. And like 20 miles, sure, it's a long-ish run, but when you're doing a 100-miler, I think the most important days are the back-to-backs, obviously now knowing. And leading up to the 100-miler, I was feeling good. I mean, at that point, I was also powerlifting, and I had spent a lot of time powerlifting instead of running 50 to 70 miles. I was putting in 40 to 50, but I was like, okay, if I do powerlifting, it'll also, strengthen my legs, and that'll help too. And that was a big mistake because, yes, my powerlifting has definitely something to do with my leg dexterity and my leg strength and my just overall leg endurance. But when I was running it, So now that we get to the 100 miler, and with the 100 miler, I had my brother and my friend Chris come over, and they were crewing me. But so the lake/park, it's not lit overnight. So I had to run around the neighborhood. My neighborhood is only a like 0.5 mile loop, but it's a cul-de-sac too. So if you run through the cul-de-sac, come back, and if you make a loop, you can run about 0.8 miles. So for the first 40 to 50 miles, I ran that 0.8 mile loop, and it wasn't that bad. The first 50 miles, I mean, they say when you run a 100 miler, you run the first 50 miles with your legs and then the last 50 with your mind. And when I was running that first 50 miler, at first I was listening to music. And granted, you're out there. I'm out there by myself. My friend Chris is not running with me. My brother isn't running with me. They're there to support me. They pulled up lawn chairs, and I would see them, every 0.8 miles. But if I needed anything, they were there. And I was running, and at a certain point, I was going not like just a little like stir crazy, because it's boring, and you're running, and then I'm listening to music, and it's just pitch black at night. And it's, 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 3 a.m. And I'm listening to music, and it's like every 15 to 30 minutes, I switch from music to a podcast, to a YouTube, to back to music, to a podcast, to a YouTube. And I just kept going back and forth. And luckily there were a few podcasts that were a little bit longer, especially I listened to, I think, 2 episodes of the Joe Rogan podcast. So that really helped push me through it. And I was running around mile 35 or 40. My friend comes, and he runs with me for a few miles. My other friend, Chris, he came earlier around like mile 15 to 20. But then he came back later on after like 6 or 7 hours, and he ran with me again, my other friend, Chris. And then going through this 50 miler, the first 50 miler, I knew I had to pace myself, because the first 50 miler that I did in September, I know I'm kind of all over the place right now, but the first 50 miler that I did, I ran the first 33 miles. I walk/run the next 16 or 14. So up to 46. So 33, 34, 46, whatever. And then I basically walked the last 4. So I knew that I had to walk a little bit earlier. So in a 100 miler, it's okay to walk. It is a very good idea to walk. I think people misunderstand. Oh, you're running a 100 miler, or you're running like these long distances. There's a lot of walking that goes into it. I mean, only the elite of the elite can really not walk any of it. And even then, that's like on a flat course. If you're up on like hills, you're definitely walking. And so I ran the first 50 miler. I was, after mile 10, I was really okay with walking. I'd walk, it wasn't that long, walk for 30 seconds to a minute. I was really doing like 9 minutes on, 1 minute off, or 9 minutes and 30 seconds, and then 30 seconds off. And I incorporated walking in a lot earlier. And the 50 mile mark on my 100 mile run, I was at 12 hours and 52 minutes. So roughly 13 hours. And I continued. And the first 50, not saying it was easy, but it was a lot easier than the 50 mile that I did in September. But the 50 mile, up to 50 miles, I was like, oh, I feel fresh. I feel good. Not fresh, but I feel good. And this doesn't seem that bad. If I can just do that over again, I'll be done. So at that point, I was okay. 27 hours. Okay, that seems like a good time. But with a 100 miler, it exponentially gets harder, and it's insane how hard it gets, because the first 50 miles I was run walk. And then as you progress through the miles, you have to walk more than you run. And then there's a point where, for a mile, you're walking a mile, running a mile, running half mile, walking half mile. And that's how you break it up. But then once it gets to walking more of the mile than you're running, that's when, it gets tough. So for me, it was right around mile 65, 70. Miles 70 to 90 were rough. It was so bad. And my knees got so bad that I had to wrap my knees in, I think like the, not athletic tape, but just like those bands that, I don't know, it's like made out of cloth. So I wrapped my knees because I couldn't bend my knees. I had to waddle. And it was basically like that for the rest of the 30 miles that I had to run. And around mile 75 as well, we walked back because I ran in the neighborhood overnight. And then once it got to light time, or once there was daytime, once there was sun, right? What am I saying? I went out to the lake/park because it's a 1.4 mile loop. And I ran that, but then it got dark again because 24 hours had passed or whatever. And now I was walking back to run back in the neighborhood because it was dark. And I was walking with my girlfriend, and I looked down on the ground because it's gravel, and I go, why? Like, do you see that? And she's like, what? Like, don't you see like hieroglyphics on the ground? Because I could vividly see the gravel in hieroglyphics, the one that you learn about in history class, the one on caves, the ones in pyramids. That's what I was legitly seeing, like Yu-Gi-Oh! And, with the pyramid, like that's what I was seeing. It was insane. And I didn't think anything of it. And then my girlfriend after was like, hey, did you know what you were saying? And I was like, I don't know. What are you talking about? Like, we were walking back. I said there were hieroglyphics. What's wrong with that? And then she was like, I think you were hallucinating. I was like, oh yeah, I was hallucinating. So with the 100 miler, you definitely, you're sleep deprived. I was at that point, I was 24 hours in, about 75 miles in, and I was starting to see stuff. And I've heard stories, like according to Walter, she's seeing like vivid things that aren't really there. But for me, it was just like a hallucination of the ground and the gravel. And it was the, like, thinking back about it, I was like, oh dang, that was crazy. And basically the last 25 miles, and the cool thing is my parents came, and then they walked and ran with me the last like 40 miles. But then the last 20 miles were like the roughest I've ever been. And it was so bad. It literally hurt to walk, and I had to waddle, and the fastest I can muster a mile, and this was me walk, run, the fastest that I can muster a mile was like 15, 16 minutes. And that was like all out. And I basically had to crawl to the finish line. And my parents came as well. And then they actually, because they came around like 5 p.m. to surprise me, but they stayed all the way till the very end. They stayed for like 7 hours because I finished around 11:30. And I really wanted to finish faster because they still had to drive back to Sacramento, which was an hour and a half away. And then, so I was like, okay, I got to finish. But I also noticed that Strava was glitching out on me because it had me jumping back and forth from one side of the track to the other side. And I was like, but I felt bad because I really wanted to finish because I wanted my parents so that they can drive home. But they stayed till the very end. I finished, but I noticed that glitch. So I actually, when my parents left, I went out for another mile. I ended up walking another mile, but that last mile was really bad too, because I had stopped, I had sat down, and it was just rough. And yeah, overall, the 100 miler was definitely, this light is not very good. The 100 miler was definitely the hardest thing that I've ever done in my life. If you want to challenge yourself, I think a 100 miler is perfect. I think obviously do a 50 miler first. And in terms of tips, because I said I would throw in some tips. If you're thinking about doing a 100 miler, obviously I would say build up to it. If you've never ran a marathon, run a marathon first. Run a marathon, and then run a 50 miler, 50K, and then a 100 miler. Or I'm sorry, a marathon, 50K, 50 miler, 100K, 100 miler. I skipped from the 50 miler to the 100 miler, but just know that it gets exponentially harder. The only thing that I can describe how it feels, it literally feels like someone is taking a dull knife and slicing your knees, and they're slicing your knees, and yeah, like I just have to keep going, and each progressive step is worse. So like how you feel at mile 60 is not how you feel at mile like 20. And when I was at mile 80, I was like, oh, I'm 80% done. But those 20 miles took forever, and it was the longest 20 miles of my life. And each step was agonizing. But for me, I had already posted everything on Facebook to all my friends. I was also documenting on Instagram. I was documenting every 5 miles, and I wanted to finish. There was no way that I didn't want. There was not really a time where I said I'm going to quit, but there were definitely rough patches. But for me, it was okay. I mean, what do I got to do? I just got to keep one foot in front of the other. There's no accepting defeat. And for me, like, just going in, I had that mindset of there is no way that I'm not going to finish. There's no way. If I have to crawl, I'm going to crawl. And I was in so much pain that, my brother, my friend Chris, my parents were like, hey, like, you should maybe stop, right? But I was like, no way. There's no way I'm going to stop. So I kept trucking along, and I ended up finishing. And then also at that point, I was plant-based as well, or vegetarian / plant-based. And then my girlfriend got me an Impossible Whopper at Carl's Jr., and then I ate that Impossible Whopper. So that is my 100 miler story. That was like 15 minutes on that. So hope y'all enjoyed that story. But take a drink of water. There's a lot of things I was missing too in terms of the 100 miler, but let me go back to giving some tips because I don't want to skip out on that. So with the tips, I think number one, when you're doing any type of ultra distances, it really depends on your training. For me, I have a heavy background in powerlifting, so my powerlifting really made it a lot easier to run those ultra distances, especially the 50 miler and the 100 miler. Without my powerlifting background, I think I would have had to do a lot more training in terms of running. And in terms of running, I think if you're going to run a 100 miler, you should at bare minimum be putting in 50 miles a week for at least 6 months. If you put in 6 months of 50 miles a week, I still think you may not be ready and you're going to be crawling to the finish line, because that's where about where I was at. I think if you really want to run a 100 miler, it's like train hard, 50 to 70 miles per week. The longer that you can train like with those miles, 50 to 70 miles per week, the better that you're going to do. And then also when you're training, make sure you do back-to-backs. Back-to-backs is, a long run one day and the next one another day. So you can do like 10-10, 11-11, 12-12, or you can do like a long medium. So nowadays I'm doing long medium, so like 20 and 10, so 30 miles in 2 days. So I think the back-to-backs help you a lot. And with that being said, there is no shame in walking. If in a 100-mile race, you're not, like, for me anyways, the reason I'm doing it, I'm not doing it to beat anybody. I'm just doing it to finish. I'm doing it to sulk in that pain cave, be in that pain cave and enjoy the pain. So walking is totally fine. I think if you try to run the whole thing, your knees are going to blow up and I regretted it, especially on the first 50 miler that I did. I didn't walk until I needed to, but at that point I was, if I would have walked sooner, I would have finished a lot faster. Also, make sure you get your nutrition on point. I think if you are running a 100 miler, you have to get your nutrition on point. For me, I've experimented in the past and leading up to it as well, so I knew what food worked for me. I typically don't do a lot of gels towards the end of the race maybe, but if you do it too far in the beginning, it'll like really mess up your stomach. So and then now I'll get to some questions. All right, everything to Patreon. I think I answered that question a little bit earlier. Anthony, how's it going? What up? Just wanted to stop by and say hello. The wife and I are on vacation. Gonna go watch the Dodgers. Go Giants! Giants are doing terrible lately. That book has changed my life. Yes, totally. Where will you be doing the 100 mile? So the 100 mile that I'll be doing will be in Reedley, California. I haven't signed up for it just yet because I don't know the situation, if it's going to be canceled. If it's not, it's $180 plus $15 for the campsite, so $195. So I don't want to sign up for it yet. I'm probably going to sign up for it 4 weeks out, but it'll be in Reedley, California, next to Fresno. I've never been to Reedley, but it is on a private farm. It is a 2-mile loop with no elevation. So similar to what I'm doing now, but just a little bit longer of a loop. And there's a base camp and everything. So I'm excited for that 100-miler then. October 31st. Hoping to give a game. Stop by. Eastern States 107 times. Yeah, 36 hour cutoff. I think those cutoffs are really like, because also I didn't mention I finished in about 30 hours on my first 100-miler. So those cutoffs are like meant to be there. Like, yeah. Hey Liz, hey Jen. Trying to go through these, hit the reminder. And if y'all can do me a favor and hit that like button, I never mentioned those in my videos, so I feel like I don't get as many likes. But if you haven't liked it, please like this video. We'll be having a crew or pacers. I likely won't be having pacers, and I'll likely be having a crew, probably end up being my girlfriend and my brother or my friend. But I'm still, again, working out the kinks, so we'll see. I don't mind not having a pacer. I think a pacer is worth it. All right. For me, I personally don't have that many, like, just like ultra running friends or like running friends that would, run 20 miles with me or 10, 15 miles with me. I'll have a few friends that'll run like 3 or 4. Maybe they'll come out, but I typically don't have too many friends that will, if I needed a pacer, like let's say in like an official or like, Western, if I ever run the Western States, maybe one day, if I needed a pacer for 20 miles, for right now, I don't have like those people around me. So hopefully one day. Do you have a nutrition game plan, calories per hour, certain foods in the beginning and different in the end? So as far as my nutrition plan, what usually works for me is solid food in the beginning, and then towards the end, maybe some gels, but that's towards like the very end. A fruit does really well for me as well. So like for me, cookie butter sandwiches, those are my staple. Typically, I'll try to consume 300 calories per hour. And usually that's a mix of either a cookie butter sandwich, a protein bar, some kind of energy bar, and then also Gatorade. So every time that I come back, like that loop, I'll probably come back, since it's a 2-mile loop, I'll come back every 2 loops and then restock up my fuel. Usually when I come back, I'll take like a swig of Gatorade and I'll have a water bottle and then like a Gatorade bottle as well. And then just some energy bars here just in case. But usually for me, early on in the race, I like to have half a cookie butter sandwich, which is, I think, about 200 calories. I like to have one of those every hour, and then I'll eat that at the beginning of the hour, and then towards the middle of the hour, I'll just have fruit and then Gatorade as I go on by. 300 calories works for me per hour. I know I burn more than that per hour, but I feel like if I eat more than that, I just feel a little bit heavy. So that's the sweet spot for me. So calories per hour. Hey, Tino. Hey, Maru. Do you have, and then Rosser Runs also asked, do you have lube plan for chafing? I actually don't chafe. I don't chafe that. Actually, I take that back. I don't chafe in my upper body. I do chafe in my like thigh area. That was a big mistake that I had in the 100-miler, the 100-mile that I did. I think switching clothes is key for me. It's like switching clothes every at least two times in the race. But I'll definitely be applying some gel or anti-chafing cream, especially in my lower leg area, because it hurt so bad last time. Shot knees. Do you have lube plan? Jashim, I can't imagine what the shot knees feels like. Yeah, it's a terrible feeling. It's a terrible feeling, but also a really good feeling, because for me, that's why like I'm running the 100-miler, because I want to feel that pain. And when I'm hurting, I'm like, yes, like this is awesome. But it also really sucks. But for me, when I get to those like really painful like situations, or just when it's really hurting, I look back at that David Goggins scene and say, I earned this. I earned this pain. Let me feel this pain. And I kind of just smile. I'm like, yeah, okay, feel the pain. seemed like a masochist, but I mean, once after I read that book, it was just game changing. And that's what I go chasing now. But in order to get there, you have to run 70 miles first. So I know that feeling, seeing stars. Yeah, I think I was on the brink of passing out. You're getting sweaty senses. Stay healthy, Vince. Thanks, Ryan. I'm so in this story right now. The hallucinations are scary. Literally pushed you to the absolute max, even when you're about to pass out. Do you need to sleep after a certain hour of running? I tend to get buggy after 26. I've only done one, like 100 miler. So for me, it was right around that 24 to 26 hours. So, but I mean, they were like, hey, my parents were like, maybe you should take a nap. And I was like, if I take a nap, I won't get up. So there's no way. So Ryan, I don't even know if my car has 100 miles on the gas right now. Hey, Mira, how long does it take to run 100 miles? So that one took me 30 hours roughly. So this next one, I am way more prepared. My training is a lot better. I'm shooting for a sub 24, so 23 hours and 59 minutes or less. But that's also, that's on a really, really good day. That's what I'm shooting for. Hopefully I'll get there. But I mean, I'm honestly be happy with 26 hours, 27 hours. But also at the same time, this is my first official 100 miler. So I just want to finish. I think Vince at 30 hours. Okay. See, with this live stream thing, there's like a chat box, but when someone responds, I have to like go all the way up. So I got to find where I was back at. Okay. Thank you everyone for coming. I just want to take the time to thank all of you. In case you want to know, it's like, sleep. I wake up at 4:30. I am not a night person. I've been trying to get up early, a little bit earlier. Nowadays, I've been getting up around like 7:30, just because I've been helping out. We've been redoing the house, the windows, as you can see. But I'm trying to get back to the 4:30 a.m. club, but it's been a struggle. Vince, you got enough energy for all 13 of us right now. Thanks. How long did the pain last? How long were you not able to be mobile as normal? So actually, the funny thing is that, slight a little bit better. Oh, now you can see me all sweaty. So the pain, I couldn't walk the next day. It hurt. Like I was really, really sore. Think of the heaviest leg day that you've ever had and you're not able to walk. That's how I felt. But I was actually fine. I recovered pretty much 100% by 3 days. So for me, I think that has a lot to do with, again, my powerlifting background. Okay. I'm right there with you. Kick it with Dang. Sup, Vince? I'm checking in. Just finished my half-mile run. What's going on, Dang? I can barely run 1 mile without feeling my life is over, so I wouldn't know. 2 miles. Cool. Sweet. Move it, Jen. What's good? Kick with Dang ass. I am finally caught up on the comments. Vince, would you ever consider writing your own book or doing a TED Talk? Yeah, I mean, for me, I would do both. I think that would be one of my life goals, but for now, I just want to put in the work right now. I feel like it's even a little bit weird for me to be on YouTube and be like, hey, listen to me, because I mean, what have I done? I really haven't done like too much of anything. So like for me, my goal right now is to build my life resume, and hopefully, later on down the line, when 10 years from now, 20 years from now, when I have like actually like cool stuff, then I could say, okay, like here's a TED Talk or like here's a book. But until then, I will keep building my life resume and then working towards those milestones. Thanks, Roster Runs, for coming. Appreciate you. All right. Woo! 34 minutes into this live stream, and the next topic I want to talk about, to mix it up a little bit, is my no alcohol streak. So the last time I had alcohol was March 28th, and I listened to this TED Talk actually, like 2 years ago or a couple of years ago, but it just reminded me because I really connected with this TED Talk. And this TED Talk was in regards to gray area drinking. And gray area drinking, the speaker was talking about, you're not like an alcoholic of where you have to drink, you need to drink, but you're also not the occasional drinker of I'm going to drink only at weddings, but you're kind of in the middle. So for me, I was drinking socially with friends. I would drink, twice a month, 3 times a month, usually on the weekends. And for me, I think it was, and I've said this many times, it was more of like the hangovers and the just like my productivity. And with COVID and the whole shelter in place thing, I think it was actually a blessing in disguise, because just because, now because I'm a social drinker, I'm not hanging out with anybody, so therefore I'm not going to drink. So for me, that was kind of like the catalyst. Plus, that was also the same time when I started getting serious into YouTube. So I was like, okay, if I'm hungover, I can't do anything, and I won't be able to put it towards YouTube, and I won't be able to put it towards my goals. But with that being said, with like just drinking in general, I think in college we drank a lot, 3-4 days a week. That was normal, like binge drinking too. And at that point I thought it was normal, but it's not. And that carried over a lot after college, because after college I started working, and that carried over in the corporate culture as well. Happy hours, going out Friday, Saturday nights. And I just think about it now, and it's just kind of a weird thing for me to think, well, like alcohol is kind of like, I mean, it's like one of the most addictive substances. We know it's bad for you, but why are people like still like not like doing it? But it's like, it's more like socially acceptable than other things, right? And for me, I saw the transition from college into obviously working, and I was like, no, I don't want to keep these habits, because I told myself that after college I would, tone down the drinking. And then for the first, like year or so afterward, I didn't. Or that was me like studying abroad, and I just got back from studying abroad, and there was a lot of drinking there. But then I was, I don't know, forgot my train of thought. But with gray area drinking, I feel like for me, I just really connect with it, because I mean, it's not like I don't need it. I'm a social drinker, and I'll drink anytime I'm around friends, socially. But I always regret it the next day. Anytime I have more than 3 drinks, I'm always hungover the next day, and it doesn't matter what kind of drinks it is: beer, wine, liquor. And then if I drink, 4 or 5, then it'll really start bleeding into the 2 days after. And for me, it's just been, let me fix this mic real quick. I've just become like really hyper productive now that I haven't been drinking as much, obviously, but it helps because, I'm not socially drinking. I'm not hanging out with people. We used to drink a couple beers after jiu-jitsu class, but now I'm not going to jiu-jitsu class. So I haven't been drinking there as well. And all in all, I just feel so much better. And for me, I was actually aiming for a year with no drinking. But I feel that I'm feeling so good that I will probably go past that year mark. But for me, I just wanted to do the no drinking just to say that I can do it. Though I've also thought about, because I have a lot of weddings next year, my brother's wedding, my friends' weddings, actually a couple, like 3 or 4 weddings. And I was thinking, okay, maybe I should just make a rule, only on special occasions. But I've made that rule in the past of I'm only going to drink on special occasions. And then everything turns into a special occasion. Because when I see friends, for me, there's this thing in college where I used to say, let's make memories, because, like, when's the next time we're going to hang out? When's the next time? And for me, I was one of the biggest instigators too, because when I see people, I want to have a good time. When's the next time that we're going to see each other? So it's all like, I always want to make those memories. And it's coming back, bite me back in the butt, because people will always say that to me to try to guilt me into drinking another drink or anything like that. And Yeah, I think, but for me, I've just been so productive, and it's hard for me to say that I will never drink ever again, but I feel so good right now that I'm definitely going to keep to that year. Though also, if and I've been going back and forth with this as well, is that when it gets past that year mark, and I do decide to drink again, what rules will I set in place? And I have to set hard rules. It has to be like, okay, weddings. Okay, I can drink in weddings, or I can drink on birthdays. But like anyone can have a birth. Like there's so many birthdays happening all the time. So at that point, and you're still drinking, I'll still be drinking at least once a month, or whatever it is, or my birthday's next month, or my birthday's next week, or I'm not going to see you. And then, or like, when's the next time we're going to see each other? And then, okay, UFC fights. And then, where do I draw the line? So I think if I do drink, it'll just be like those very, very special occasions. Maybe just like weddings. I think I might just keep it to weddings, because weddings is a celebration, and I'll just have like a couple drinks, right? So I don't know. I mean, I'm still kind of working through this. I am by no means an alcoholic or anything like that, though. Like I just want to try to get to the 1 year and see where it goes from there. And it's more of like a mental thing as well, of like, I said I was going to do this? Can I do this? So let's try this out. Let's see, where it goes. So that's why I've been adamant about it so far. But also, I was listening to a Ultra Marathon Man by Dean Karnazes. It's a super old book, but he's an ultra marathon runner, and he was just talking about how exercise is for people who can't handle like substances, and that like didn't click with me in the sense like I need like ultra running or exercise because I'm addicted to substances, but it was more like, okay, like I totally get the high that comes from exercising and ultra running and everything like that. So I think for me, it's like channeling the right energy, I guess, into like things that are going to better my life. And then for me, like running and exercise, that's way better of a substance than alcohol is. So I don't know where I'm going with this, but there we go. All right, let me catch up on comments again. I think I saw a few. Thanks for coming, everyone. Crap, I missed a 100-miler talk. Sorry, Steven. Do you ever crave the occasional sip? Good question, Mira. Yeah, I do. Yeah, there's always, after a good run, I'm always like, oh, it'd be so nice to have a beer. I actually genuinely like the taste of beer. I mean, I lived in San Diego for 9 years roughly, and we were just used to drinking beer all the time, craft beer, none of that like Bud Light, Coors Light stuff. But I love craft beer, but I mean, I also made a promise to myself. But the alternative to beer that I've had is soda. Actually, diet soda, and the diet soda is not the best for you either. It has aspartame in it. It messes with your gut health. But which one is worse? I don't know. But in order to substitute alcohol, I've really turned to soda and diet soda. So, do you feel like you'll go back into it post-pandemic? Post-pandemic, I mean, I'm going to go for a year, and then I'll see where that goes from there. Honestly, not 100% sure. I mean, just making those rules again. I can see Vince being the hype man. Thanks. I'll take that as a compliment. I was a very big instigator. I should definitely do a video. And it's funny because Keiko Dang, Keiko Dang, we actually know each other in real life, and we knew each other from college, and we're in the same circle of friends. I'm not sure if you knew me in like the drinking days, Dang, but I was kind of wild too. And I should do a video I've been thinking about a video of bringing on someone that's known me, of, hey, like, describe me how you know me from college or something like that. And yeah. I did 30 days no drinking, and your year is a great goal. It honestly does help with your mind. Yeah, it really clears up the mind. I feel like, Coach Kev, it's also nice knowing you'll wake up early the next day and not feel sick. It's crazy, though, how you'll feel. Yep. Are you sure you don't want a beer? Yeah. I'm kind of craving one now. Correct. Ultras are another form of addiction. Yeah, you are correct. I mean, I can't. It's weird because as painful as ultras are, and it sucks. Like it sucks to get to that point, and it's almost to the point that you're so emotional. And when I finished my 100 miler, I was so emotional. I was just so happy, and it was literally the best feeling. You know, if I can, like, I think that my first 100 miler, the feeling probably the best, like top 3 for sure. But I think it's like so hard to beat that, and I think it'll be top 10 in my life for sure. LaCroix, actually don't like LaCroix. LaCroix is not very good. It just tastes like, I mean, it's sparkling water, right? I think LaCroix is kind of nasty, to be honest, but I'm not judging. Mr. Beer Pong Champ, yes, yeah, come see me. Anyone who wants to play beer pong. Any throwback pictures of you and Dang and the blonde piercings? Me and Dang didn't hang out when I had blonde hair and piercings, but we're cool now. And we started like hanging out ish towards like after college, I think it was. Same group of friends. So I stopped drinking soda. I've been thinking about, giving up soda, but I actually gave up energy drinks. I stopped drinking energy drinks around 2 years ago. So I've gave up energy drinks, but I really crave those all the time too. What did you go to school for? I know you're doing real estate stuff now, but what was your undergraduate in? So my undergraduate, I went to San Diego State for 5.5 years. And the last half year was my study abroad, though, because I needed study abroad credit. So once I finished, I just stayed over there. But I was a double major in Asian studies and sociology. So Asian studies and sociology. Shouldn't have told Dang all. Oh man, that pain. Vince, you ever talk about Arc 1? Oh yeah. I've never talked about Arc 1. I think, Dang, you're the only one that knows. But Arc 1, me and my friend Ricky from college, actually a very good friend of me and Dang's, we started a fitness group, of sorts, and we used to do group fitness. We had barbells, dumbbells, at a park, and we were providing fitness advice. And because originally he came to me for fitness advice to get in shape. He listened to me, and then he got in shape, and then so we started this brand. It's called Arc 1. I might have to bring that back, talk to Ricky about that a little bit more, but cool. All right. So 47 minutes in, I have a couple questions that people were asking me in terms of the regular questions from my vlogs. Okay. Noah Scofield asked, how old were you when you started doing pull-ups? I really started getting into pull-ups probably 3 or 4 years ago. So I was 24, 23, 24, or 24, 25. Tips and tricks to do more. So do more pull-ups. You just got to do more pull-ups. For me, I think just keep it simple. Your body gets used to the stress that you put on it. So if you want to do more pull-ups, you just physically have to do more pull-ups. You just have to be strategic in terms of your, how you go about it. Just increase volume over time. So for me, I'm always a big fan of weekly. So if you're going to hit 100 this week, 120 next week, 104. So if you keep at, or let's say you had 50 a week. So you go 100 this week, 150 next week, 200 the week after. Eventually you're going to hit 1,000 or 2,000 or whatever, or you're going to get to a point where, okay, this is good enough for me, or, let me focus on this, or let me dial down the reps, but add more weight, or you can put on one of those straps. So I think how you approach the programming is important. So just make sure that you are consistently adding volume over time on a week basis, whether that is on a percentage basis. On a percentage basis, I would add 5 to 10%. 5 to 10% once you get into the 400, 500 range. But when you do the 100 range per week, you can start with 30, 40% or per week. So just make sure to do more pull-ups and to look at your programming. And if anyone needs help in a pull-up program as well, I'm more than happy to write you up one, or give you my program. I should probably write that down. So Eyocase asks, have you ever, or are you planning to do a triathlon or a bike race? Yeah, I eventually want to do a triathlon or like a duathlon. The only thing right now is I can't swim. And if I am going to be completely honest with you, I am very nervous on a bike. I can ride a bike, but I'm very, very nervous on a bike. And I've just always been like that. I just like, actually, it was mainly from when I was on a motorbike in Thailand. I was riding up this hill and I was going up this hill, and it was a really steep hill. And I was like, oh, and there's also someone like behind, like not behind me, but like on the back of my motorbike. And I was going up this hill and I fell, and I will never, ever, ever ride a motorbike ever again. But I also get like a little bit nervous on like a regular bike as well. When you're going up those speeds, I just like start shaking. So I might need to relearn how to ride a bike or be more, confident on a bike. So thoughts. So Cory Steiner asked thoughts on a variety channel or a niche channel. So in terms of YouTube, I think both work. I don't like, the thing is with a niche channel or what did you say? Or a variety channel, if you're doing multiple topics at once, either like, as Gary Vee says, you just have to choose one and then you have to go with it. If you're not going to know what the other one is because you're going to be doing like one of them. And I think both work. You just have to do what works for you and what you're comfortable with. But also for me, I'm not necessarily a niche channel. For me, I am more of I like a vlog type channel, a vlog type channel, but also it's more of, just documenting my journey. And luckily I am interested in a multitude of different things, so I can talk about different things and also not feel guilty at the same time. For me, I decided not to go like the niche channel and just do ultra running. But for me, I want to share all aspects of my life, and that's what works for me. But then again, it's whatever is going to like kind of cure that curiosity of yours. I think, but either way works. Either way works. Davis Doan asked, do you and your girlfriend own that house that you live in? So we don't own the house, but her family owns the house. So last question that I have. Kevin asked, if you didn't do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, what other discipline do you think you'd be into? That is a very good question. I really, really have come to, I would say, a little less than love. I mean, love is a very strong word, but yeah, I kind of love Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I like it a lot better than running. I like it a little bit better than powerlifting. Powerlifting has always been my bread and butter, so it's hard to say that I like love it more than powerlifting. But if I didn't do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, I'd probably do wrestling. I think wrestling would be good. Just because now that I know the different aspects of martial arts, as far as like Muay Thai, Taekwondo, wrestling, Jiu-Jitsu, boxing, I kind of have a sense of what would be good for me. And nothing against those like other types of martial arts, but for me, I think with wrestling and jiu-jitsu, it's a little more like you can use it. Like boxing and Muay Thai you can use too, because those are more like striking based. So if y'all know, like boxing, obviously you use your hands, and then Muay Thai you use your hands and your feet. But wrestling, obviously, when you wrestle someone, you basically want to take them down and then control them on the ground. And then jiu-jitsu is basically catch wrestling where you're doing submission. So you're doing like you're choking someone out, or you're about to break their arm, break their ankle, break their limbs. That's the jiu-jitsu is the submissions themselves when you're on the ground. But I think it would have to be wrestling, just because if I ever got into a fight, I think wrestling would prove to be the most valuable in my perspective if I were to ever get into a fight. And for me, it's learning self-defense. And I also think self-defense is a huge reason why I've been doing jiu-jitsu. And then if y'all don't know jiu-jitsu, like definitely check it out. I think it's empowering for everyone. I mean, it's my favorite form of fitness. It's basically submission grappling, and you're doing, if you ever watch the UFC and someone gets choked out or someone gets like a leg lock or an arm bar, that's jiu-jitsu. So jiu-jitsu is the submissions themselves, as I said, but also you're not getting punched in the face though. And with jiu-jitsu, you're usually like in a gi or you're in no gi, so you're in like spandex tight clothing, and you are the good thing about jiu-jitsu is that you can like spar, or we call it rolling. You can go at like 100%. And because when you spar in boxing, if you spar in boxing, you're gonna get hit in the face. Like, I don't want to get hit in the face. I don't want a bloody nose. Even if you have pads on, you're gonna get hit in the face. Or with like Muay Thai, when you box them or when you spar, they're gonna kick you in the leg. It's gonna hurt. So like in that sense, you really can't go like all out when you're sparring with, like, as a normal person. Yes, like if you're a UFC fighter, you're a fighter, like, yeah, more power to you. But for me, like the average person that just wants to do it for fun, like I don't want to get a broken face or a broken nose or anything like that. So you can't really go full beast mode in sparring. Whereas jiu-jitsu, you can do that because it's called, respect the tap. So if you ever get someone in submission, you're about to choke me out, I tap and then you let go. So there is a very heavy trust factor when you're doing jiu-jitsu, because yes, we're going like all out, and I'm trying to kill you and you're trying to kill me or submit me or about to put me to sleep, but you let go right before that happens because you tap. And then also when you get in a submission, generally, if the other person is going to be compromised, and they might be stubborn and they might not tap, but that the tap should be coming. And also with your training partners, you're not going to like go to Snap City, so. But yeah, my rant on jiu-jitsu. All right, let me catch up on. What's for dinner, everyone? Frozen pizza. Oh, okay. So I do want to mention a few things. Mr. Ryan Chang has a live stream tomorrow. So if y'all can make that, I believe it will be at 6 or 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time tomorrow. Ryan, you can throw that into the live chat. But Mr. Ryan Chang has a live stream tomorrow. So reminder. And also, Mira and Coach Kev have one on Friday as well. So make sure to check those out. I'm not sure what time they are, but how do you like your salmon cooked? I like this live chat. Pokey, crunchy baked salmon skin is my guilty pleasure. Have you ever been in a fight? That's a good question. Almost. Oh, no. Yes, I have. Yes. I say that like I won the fight, which I did not. So, okay, I guess I'll go into my fight story. I've been in several altercations. One was in high school. That really didn't turn out to be anything. But so the one time that I got in a fight, I was in Shanghai. It was my study abroad. It was 2014, and we were at a club, and I wasn't even drunk. Like I drank, but I sobered up, and I was perfectly fine. And the night was ending, and I was like, okay, let's go home. And then so as we're leaving, we're going down from the club. And if you've ever been to Shanghai, it's called the Bund. It's like this like the Vegas Strip, basically. Not the Strip, but it's like where all the clubs are, and it's next to like a river or like a river or stream or lake or whatever. And as we were going down, it was me and two of my other guy friends. One was an Asian fellow about my size as well, and then the other guy was 6'5", 6'3", 6'5", and he was a really tall guy. And then we also had like 9 girls, so it was like 9 girls plus 3 guys. And as we were going down the elevator, there were these Europeans, and I think they were Norwegian, but there were like 6 of them. Okay. And then as we were going down the elevator, one of the guys starts hitting on my friend, which she was next to me, and he was really drunk, and I was fine. At this point, I don't know any jujitsu whatsoever either, so I don't know how to defend myself. And as we were going, he starts hitting on my friend, and she's, it's for like 10, 15 seconds, and I'm looking at it, and she seems like really uncomfortable. So I go, hey man, can you stop talking to my girlfriend? She wasn't my girlfriend. And she was like, I was like, hey, can you stop talking to my girlfriend? She's, like, we're dating. Like, I appreciate if you stop talking to her. And he was like, you're lying. And I was like, no, I'm not. Like, straight face. I was like, no, I'm not, dude. Like, we're dating. And then I held her hand, and then I grabbed her hand. I'm like, look, we're holding hands. We're dating. And so there's already tension in the elevator. And as we walk out, and then so he turned around and said, okay, whatever. So as we walk out, we're like walking out, and then it's like our group and their group, but it's also kind of like intermingled. And we were walking towards the Bund because that's where you go catch the taxis. And as we were walking, one of the guys comes up to me and says, hey man, I'm sorry. Like, I didn't mean that. It was the guy that was, shoving his finger in my face. He was like, yeah, I didn't mean that, whatever. And then as he's talking to me, I see a scuffle in front of me. And turns out that one of the other guys in his group, they pushed one of the girls down. And because he was hitting on my other friend, and then she was like, no, get out of my face or whatever. And then she was like, shut up, you whore, or something, and then pushed her down on the ground. As he pushed her down on the ground, my 6'4", 6'3", 6'4", 6'5", however tall he is, he runs, because everyone is now buried on top of each other, trying to like pick her up, hold him back, whatever. And then as he is pulling one of the guys off, he gets punched in the face. So he gets punched in the face. He actually had to have a root canal on his back tooth. So as he gets punched in the face, I see him getting punched in the face. And then I run towards him, because that's my first instinct. I run towards him. And then the guy that I was talking to, or the guy that apologized, he trips me. And then he kicks me. And then I'm balled up like this. And then all I can think about is, okay, I can't get knocked out. All right. And then so he stops kicking me. I get up. And at this point, my friend was like squaring up with one of the guys. And then all of the other European guys were like around. But now we're in the middle of the street. Now. And it's a really busy street. And it was insane. And so I run up to the guy that my friend was fighting, because I could see him, but the guy's back was turned to me. So I pushed the other guy. As hard as I could. And I grabbed my friend. And then at this point, I was like, yo, let's get out of here. But funny thing is that because most of us were Asian, we were Chinese, like Chinese American, Chinese Canadian, whatever. And then a bunch of Chinese guys like came in to help us, because they thought it was these Europeans picking a fight with some Chinese people. And then these Chinese guys started to hop in, and then I'm like, what the heck? And this is insane. So I grabbed my friend, I put him in a taxi. And then I was like, all right, let's get the F out of here. We got to go. And then I grabbed whoever else that I could find. And then it was me, the other Asian guy, and then the 2 English girls. And so the 2 English girls, one of them was my quote unquote girlfriend. The other one was the one that got pushed down on the ground. And then so we grabbed them, and then we started going, like walking into the city now, so that we can get away from the hecticness. And as we were walking, we hear the European guys. And they're like shouting, and then we're like, oh, it's them. And then me and like my fake girlfriend, we were like, okay, let's go the other way. And then the other girl was like, no, I'm gonna go talk to them. I'm gonna tell them what's up. And I was like, why would you do that? You're gonna get us beat up. And then the Asian guy was like, yeah, let's go tell him what's up. And I was like, no. And then like the other girl was like walking towards. I was like, nope. And I picked her up and I was like, all right, we're getting out of here because I'm not a fighter. I also don't want to get beat up. But yeah, that's my story. So, all right, let me catch up on some comments again. Good question, Jashim. A nice grilled salmon. I miss fish. I do miss good sushi. 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Ryan Chang, everyone. Be there or be square tomorrow. Jashim, boxing, you get hit in the face. BJJ, you get choked out. Boxing. No, I'm not saying boxing is for B, but I don't want to get hit in the face. That's why I don't do boxing, because if you spar and you're gonna get hit in the face. I'll be there. I'm loving these live streams. So fun. I'll be there. I'll be there too. I'll definitely try to make it. Summoned. Yes, Vince. Fake boyfriend defense mechanism. Hey, Vince. What's up, Malone Money Mindset? Vince about to go down for someone he's not even dating. Yeah. Yeah. It's funny. But those were like some of the best memories that I ever had was studying abroad. Good times. All right. Thanks for good night, everyone. Thanks for having us, Vince. Yeah, I appreciate everyone for coming. I definitely should get a new webcam because this thing sucks. Might invest in one. But thanks everyone for coming. I appreciate it all, or appreciate you all sticking around this long. If you have any questions, let me know down below. And if you can do me a favor and click the like button, I will see you all next week again for a live stream. Likely, I'll stick with Tuesdays. I'll see the analytics for today and then just go from there. All right, everyone. See you all tomorrow. I'll be at Ryan Chang's live stream. Be there or be square. Peace to